Okay, International School of Dublin opened 5 years ago in Ireland. We were the first primary school authorised by the International Baccalaureate, and really we evolved from a need in Dublin to have diversity of education for international companies coming into Ireland. We run a programme from 3 years to 12 years, and it's a very hands-on inquiry approach. Having listened to all the companies and the CSR that they've been doing, I realise now that actually we promote CSR from the age of 3 in our school. And I'll tell you a bit more about that later. We have an international staff, and also we run a curriculum that enables children to transition into Ireland, work with the schools programme and transition back out of Ireland again, depending where their parents are transferred next. And we actively seek collaborators, sponsors of the community within Dublin to support our community. We feel, to support our curriculum, we feel that the children deepen their understanding by making deep and meaningful connections with the workplaces and the businesses around them.
Okay, so just a little bit of background for some of you. Salesforce may not be a company you're familiar with. We're about a 12-year-old company coming from nothing to about $2 billion and 6,000 employees worldwide. Today we have about 400 employees in Ireland, and we expect to grow that to roughly 1,000 over the next 5 years. So excited to do more and more giving and work more with the American Chamber of Commerce. So one of the things that we're very proud of as a company is when the company was originally founded, we set up a program called 111. And all of us here have different ways that we've come to CSR and corporate giving, and this was really the birth of it for Salesforce. And what 111 means is that we encourage our employees to donate 1% of their time to charities, their work time. We've given 1% of the company's equity to a foundation, a 501(c)(3) foundation, and obviously that's the company's done well, so that's been a nice bursary, if you will, that we can work from. And lastly, we give our product out to nonprofits to use to better run their businesses. And you can see some of those figures that are global figures. You know, I think the 24 million in grants is a great figure. I wanted to talk a little bit about the ISD project that we did. And I'm going to let Sarah come back up, frame kind of what the children are doing in this particular unit of inquiry, as they call them. And then I'll come back and talk to you about the day that we had with them at our facilities.
Okay, so we at the ISD, we focus on 6-week units of inquiry. The children are expected to do a very, very in-depth inquiry into many and varied subjects. The eldest children in the school, grades 4 through 6, studied a unit on leadership right at the beginning of the year. And every unit is governed by a central idea, a really deep, broad understanding that they grapple with for 6 weeks. This was leadership is bound by responsibility, and effective leaders have certain qualities and characteristics. They were expected to investigate well-known leaders. They were expected to inquire into what makes a good leader. And they also investigated the different qualities and characteristics of leaders in society at the moment. As part of their host country studies programme, to embed it within Ireland, we looked at the Irish government, and the children interviewed TDs, and we went to the Dáil, and they investigated how that was run within Ireland and how that might compare with their own experiences in their own countries. So the children within this unit of inquiry have every subject included in where there is a meaningful connection. So we don't have single science lessons, and we don't have single maths lessons or history lessons. Everything is embedded in. So the children did their history study by looking at leaders in the past. We looked at social studies and how leaders impact on society. Each child did their own independent research and chose one leader and made a non-fiction book that they actually either presented as a PowerPoint to the parents or presented as a book at the end of the 6 units. And very important to us At the end of every unit, the parents and anybody else we've collaborated are invited in to share the children's learning so that they can stand up in front of you and say, this is what we now understand about leadership being bound by responsibility.
So what we did with the children is we brought them into Salesforce. We took them into a boardroom, which obviously, besides the fact that we had treats and takeaways, it was pretty exciting beyond that. And then we had each of the children pick a card face down that had one of the leadership attributes that you see here. And then we went around the room and we asked each of the kids to talk about why they thought this attribute was important. And it was fantastic. I mean, it was really interesting how the kids engaged, had their own ideas, and then what we did at the end of each one is one of the members of our leadership team at Salesforce gave them examples, agreed with them in many instances, and then gave them examples of how these attributes are important in our day-to-day work. Being as specific as we could, because a big part of the program for these kids is about connection. So really, you know, what from the feedback that we got, what we accomplished was really helping them understand, you know, in all the different walks of life, whether it's political or business, et cetera, you know, what are the important qualities of leaders and how do they actually make these real in their everyday environment. So it was a lot of fun, and we, you know, thank ISD for asking us to be part of it. I wanted to mention, actually, there's one slide that's probably not in here. We have a couple of other, actually a number of causes. The slide that I really wanted to have in here was kind of the overall volunteering piece. Probably the piece of data that I'm most proud of that's a representation of Ireland and the giving and volunteering that we do here is our employees of about 400 have given 4,400 hours so far this year. And our year ends in January. So, you know, that's over 10 hours an employee. And a lot of people say, how do you know that number? And if the slide was up, I would know the exact number. And the reason is we track it very carefully because it's important to us and it's important to them. And we also give a small donation for every hour volunteered to the charity of our employees' choice. So just one more way in which I think companies can really encourage employees to get involved, but also get involved in the things that are important to them. Thank you.
I just want to dive. I'm just going to do one more because I said that I didn't realize our school used so much CSR, and we don't use that terminology. There are 5 essential elements for our curriculum, and one of them is action. And I've seen so much action in this room today and heard about so much action. But our children from the age of 3 are encouraged to take action after the end of every unit that they study. And the parents and the teachers facilitate that and support that. And just at the moment, each class has been given the task of looking for action this Christmas, and they've investigated different local charities. And through a voting process, after becoming more knowledgeable about the charities out there, they have decided to support Children in Hospital this Christmas and are now actively working alongside the charity to decide how they're going to create their action.